As you all know, I'm Merylee Shelton. You know, occasionally a person comes along who does much more than anyone has a right to expect of them. Such a man is Dr. Raymond Rucker, and he's also my father. I'd like you to get to know him. I'd like to introduce him to you and give him a chance to tell us a little bit about himself. So, Dr. Rucker, let's start at the beginning, and why don't you tell us first where you came from?
That's a long story. I was born and raised in Omaha, Nebraska. Born in 1926, so that's really quite a long time ago. So that makes me 55 years old. So I have been around a little bit. How we got to Omaha, my father, who was one of 18 children, was born in Nashville, Tennessee, but spent most of his time in the service over in the Philippine Islands. So my two older sisters and brother were born and raised in Manila. And when World War I broke out, then my mother and the three children came back across Pacific by themselves. And rather than go back to Nashville, they settled in Omaha, Nebraska, where her older brother had been run out of the South for teaching blacks to read and write. And he had followed the railroad to Omaha, Nebraska. And so out of the 10, I'm one of 10 children, so out of the 10 kids, all but 4 were born in Omaha, Nebraska. 3 were born and raised in Manila, and I have one older sister that was born at Fort Laramie, Wyoming. That's going back to the old Indian Wars. My father was born in 1879. And I have uncles that were born, that I knew before they died, that were born before the Civil War, that they were born in slavery.
What was it like during the time you were born and in your early childhood years in this country?
I think that we were basically going into the Industrial Revolution, and also I was born, I'm a Depression baby, born during the height of the Depression, and especially in the Midwest, in Nebraska, which was rural farm country, that it was very, very poor. No money, the industry was down. Bread lines, as you probably have read in your history, that existed. And this was after the crash of 29. I was born in 26. The crash came in 29. And I can remember preschool for me, preschool, which meant 1930. I started to school in 1931, kindergarten. And I can remember things that happened in 29 and 30. As a very young kid, 32, 34, I remember when Franklin Delano Roosevelt ran against Hoover for the presidency. And that goes back a little bit. So our country was in a state of depression. People were hungry, no jobs. Even people that wanted to work could not find jobs. So it was a very tough thing. And people then, I feel, had to work together in order to survive. One of the differences is I think people now, we all now have many more things, and we don't depend upon other people for support and help as we used to do during the old days.
What are some of the first memories that you have of your parents?
Oh, gee, I think as a small youngster, even though we were from a big family, lots of things happened, and I think this may be some of the reasons that we are what we are today. We played ball together because there wasn't televisions, and although we had a car, there weren't many cars. Coal was delivered by horse and buggy, bread was delivered by horse and buggy, milk was delivered by horse and buggy, very few telephones, very little running water during these times. And I guess our family was fortunate because we had all of these things, even though we had 10 kids. And so I remember in the winter in Omaha, Nebraska, my parents sleigh riding with us, snowballing, playing fox and geese, which you probably, being Californians, don't know. It's making tracks in the snow, and you try to catch each other. It's kind of tag in the snow. They used to play scrub baseball with us, and this was in 32, 33, 34, 35. So very fond memories in that area, but also very strict memories. My father particularly was very, very strict, and we had lots of responsibilities as youngsters, as kids, as far as chores around the house.